Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the delay, but good afternoon to everyone and welcome. We will call to order the annual Salary Board meeting here in Lawrence County. Today is Tuesday, January 2 of 2024. We'd ask if you have any type of an electronic communication device, if you please put it on silent or vibrate. We appreciate that courtesy. State law requires that each county have an annual salary board meeting at the beginning of the year. And as we've said many times in the past, state law also stipulates that the permanent members of the salary board are the 3 commissioners and the county controller. But when there are issues involving the other elected officials in county government, they become temporary voting members of this board. And you're going to see that as we move down the agenda today. Each row officer who is here will be a voting member for their matters and will have the authority to make motions and have discussion and ultimately make a vote. What I'd offer to each of you is there is a chair up here. If you would like to sit up front when it's your turn, you are very welcome to do that. If you're more comfortable and would prefer, we would ask you sit in this chair so the microphone can pick you up. But please, when you're a voting member, you have the same authority that we do. So you're very welcome to come up here and join us. It's totally up to you. But let's establish if we have a quorum. I do want to certainly welcome the 2 new members of the Salary Board, Commissioner Chris Sanada and Commissioner Dan Kennedy. They've had a very busy morning and so far a very busy afternoon, and hopefully we'll get you out of here by 3 o'clock. And of course, our county controller, Mr. Prestapine, has been at this for a few years, so certainly happy to have you here. Vanessa, would you please call the roll?
Controller Prestapine.
Here.
Commissioner Sinata.
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Here.
Commissioner Vogler.
Here. We have a quorum. We always have an opportunity for public comment, both at the beginning of the meeting and before we adjourn. We ask if you do have public comments that they be related to salary board matters. Are there any public comments over and above what those of you who are here will have further down the agenda? Debbie, anything? Again, I'll have my packet for you when we finish up here. The primary role today is to take formal action on the proposed cost of living adjustments for the non-union and management personnel here throughout the organization. We'll do it step by step. But before we get to that, we do have in our packet, and this would be pertinent to the three other gentlemen here and myself, we have the minutes of the most recent salary board meeting, which was held on December 28 of 2023. I'll give you gentlemen time to look them over, and whenever one of you would be ready, I could entertain a motion for us to adopt those minutes.
Make the motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Prestapine. Is there a second? Please take your time, gentlemen.
I'll second.
Chris, thank you. But again, I'll give you the time you need to look them over. Okay. Thank you, Dan. We have a motion on the floor that has been appropriately seconded for adoption of the minutes. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll ask Vanessa to call the roll, please.
Controller Prestapine.
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata.
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. One other thing I'll note. The role of the salary board, as we've said many times, is to either create or eliminate positions in county government and establish the rates of pay. This board doesn't hire people. We don't terminate people. We simply, again, create or eliminate positions and establish the rates of pay. This meeting is statutorily required. This is probably being repeated throughout the state as we speak in other counties. As chair, And my approach has maybe differed from some previous board chairs. I look upon this as convening this board when it's requested or needed. I've tried to respect any of you elected officials. If you have an issue that needs to be brought, I think it's only fair that you be given that opportunity. And I'll try to conduct myself in that manner. I mean, I'm hoping we don't have to meet every week. But by the same token, if issues come up, as they do, I need to respect the fact that you as an elected official should have that right to present your issue to this board for their consideration. I will note that in some counties, and they're usually the bigger ones, and you probably know this, that some counties have regularly scheduled salary boards, like once a month or once every second month. We haven't had to do that. I look upon it as being on an as-needed basis, but I will respect any of you coming before us requesting the opportunity to meet. So thank you for that. Now, we're going to move down the list. What we're doing today, as based on the agenda that was put forth just a day ago, Mr. Grappone?
May I?
Yes.
I do. I'm looking at the agenda.
Yes,
Should
sir.
it say 2024 annual call?
I believe it should. Is that correct, Vanessa?
It's just when the motions
Catching
are
that.
being made. I didn't want, there's no
No, you're,
problems.
I think in the printed resolutions themselves, I think 2024 seems to be listed, but you're absolutely right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we'll make note of that fact that on the printed agenda where it says 2023, that should read, starting with the courts and moving down, it should be 2024. Thanks, Rich.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. So we'll proceed. What we're doing today is basically formalizing the cost of living adjustment for non-union and management personnel in the respective offices that are here today. Keeping in mind, and it will be noted in each resolution where there are union employees involved, we will of course adhere to the language in the respective contracts for those people. So I guess before I move to the courts, let me see, Mr. Prestipine, anything you'd like to add before we jump into this?
No, I'm good.
Thank you. Mr. Sanada, any questions or concerns? Thank you. And Mr. Kennedy? Okay, thank you very much. The first item is the courts, which would be Judge Motto. Judge, your preference, if you want to sit there or join us?
As usual, I'll sit right here.
Thank you,
I've had
sir.
enough of being up there.
This would be Salary Board Resolution 1, if I'm not mistaken, and what this resolution would do would establish a cost of living adjustment of 2.25%, which would take effect January 1 of 2024. And Judge, I'll let you fill in more if you wish to. I'll turn it over to
You
you.
know, I actually don't have a copy of the printed resolution, but I'm really grateful for this opportunity. So I would make that, what you have printed in front of you in the form of a motion.
And I apologize. We should have had that for my
It's
apology.
straightforward enough, so I understand what you're doing.
Let me add into the record that all full and part-time, excluding any summer interns, non-union and management employees and solicitors shall receive the 2.25% cost of living adjustment effective January 1, 2024. All union employees will be compensated per the union contract. This specific resolution will apply to the following departments: the courts, the district justices, the adult probation office, the domestic relations office, the law library, and juvenile probation. I hope that covers.
It does. I would make that in the form of a motion.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. Is there a second to the judge's motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, David. Judge, anything you care to
I would
add?
just reiterate that I'm grateful for the thought that these people could receive some sort of cost of living adjustment. We don't know how expensive things are, so it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, sir. Questions from my colleagues? Mr. Sanada, anything? Mr. Prestipine?
I just want to point out that 2.25% was included in the 2024 budget. For all of these resolutions in the end.
I appreciate your doing that. Thank you, David. And Mr. Kennedy, questions? Okay, thank you. We've had a motion and a second. If there is no other discussion, I'll request a roll call for Salary Board Resolution 1.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Judge Amato,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Judge, anything else you have for us?
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir.
it.
Have a nice evening.
You too.
The Controller is seated here at the table. The next proposed resolution, number 2, would implement for all of his full-time and part-time non-union and management employees and the solicitor for his office. Those folks would receive a 2.25% cost of living adjustment taking effect January 1, and that all ASME union employees under the jurisdiction of the controller will be compensated per the union contract. Mr. Prestipine, I'll turn it over to you for either any comments or a motion if you wish.
I'll make the motion to approve this resolution.
I thank you, sir. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Dan, thank you so much. Dave, anything you wish to add?
No.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Mr. Kennedy, any questions? Thank you, sir. Mr. Sonata? No. Okay, we have this motion for number 2. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata, Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Next is the coroner. Mr. Johnson is with us. RJ, you're very welcome to sit up front or down there, whatever you prefer.
I'm a floor guy.
Okay. Well, good afternoon and welcome. The proposed resolution for the coroner's office states, as has been noted earlier, all full-time and part-time non-union and management employees and the solicitor will receive a 2.25% cost of living adjustment effective January 1, 2024. I would welcome your comments and or a motion, whatever you prefer.
I'll make a motion to approve as written.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second to Mr. Johnson's motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, David. Mr. Johnson, anything you wish to add?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir. Questions? Mr. Kennedy? Mr. Prestipine?
No.
Mr. Sonata? No. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded for proposed resolution 3. We'll do a roll call, please, including Mr. Johnson.
Coroner Johnson,
Yes.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, RJ. We appreciate your joining us. The district attorney is next, Mr. Josh Ramakusa, and it's always a pleasure to have you here at our meetings. And again, would you care to sit up front?
I'm just a visitor in your house today. I will sit down here.
That's fine.
Before we get started, I just want to say congratulations. I don't envy your learning curve, but you certainly have the best guide that Lawrence County can offer. So congratulations to both.
That's very kind of you. I think it should be noted that one thing that's going to be very helpful, and it's already been proven today. This gentleman has been a township supervisor. He knows what it's like to have a 3-member board, so he's used to this process. This gentleman served in the legislature, and not so much on the floor, but in committees. This is probably very similar to committees. And so they've hit the ground running. They really have. So
That's going to make it better for Lawrence County. So.
your comments are very nice. You're with us today to discuss, bear with me, I'm sorry. Here we go. I'm up to number 4, district attorney. Josh, this proposal would implement the 2.25% cost of living, and noting that the union employees that fall under your jurisdiction, of course, will be compensated per the language in their contracts. But this applies to your non-union and management folks. Would you care to comment and or make a motion?
No comment, but I would move in accordance with the resolution that we have before you.
Thank you, sir. This is resolution 4. It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Josh, anything else you'd like to add?
Nothing further.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Mr. Sonata? Mr. Prestipine?
I just have one thing. It mentions on there, it says all labor 964 union employees will be compensated under the union contract. They're not a Teamsters union. Labor 964 is not.
Thank you. Let's make that correction. David, thank you for catching that. We will scratch laborers 964 and we will put in its place Teamsters. Thank you, David. Anything else?
No.
Mr. Kennedy?
Nothing.
Well, we have a motion and a second. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
District Attorney Lamakusa,
Yes.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
gentlemen, and I will be in touch with your office to get on the schedule to brief all of the commissioners on what the DA's briefing that I do for you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. Take care, Josh. The prothonotary is next. I should say the prothonotary and clerk of courts and clerk of the ordinance court. Jody Claven Asaldo is with us, and this is proposed resolution 5. Am I right, Vanessa?
Yes.
Number 5. Jody, you're welcome to sit up front.
Yes,
Twice.
yeah.
Okay. You're welcome then to make any comments and/or a motion on your proposal.
No, just happy New Year and congratulations again.
Thank you. Do you wish to make a motion for this proposal?
Yes, I move to make the resolution.
Thank you. And again,
No, I don't know what it is.
oh, I apologize.
I don't want to miss anything out.
You're not. This is similar to all the others. It's a 2.25% cost of living adjustment effective yesterday for all full and part-time, non-union and management employees and your solicitor. For your union folks, they will be compensated per their contract. That's the nature of this proposed resolution. Would you wish to
Yes,
move
I
forward?
move with the resolution for you.
Thank you so much. Is there a second to Jody's motion? Thank you, David. Anything you wish to add?
No, thank you very, very much.
Questions for Mr. Kennedy? Thank you. Mr. Prestipine? Mr. Sonata?
No.
Thank you. We'll do a roll call.
Prothonotary Asaldo,
Yes.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you, Jody. Appreciate, you've had a busy day also.
Listen, Norm.
Next on the agenda is Tammy Crawford, our register and recorder. Tammy, would you like to sit up front with us? I guess not. Listen, would you want to sit next to me? Unless you had to? Well, we're glad to have you here, and this proposed resolution number 6 would, as you've heard with all the others, implement a 2.25% cost of living adjustment for your non-union and management folks and your solicitor, and then any of the union folks in your office will be compensated based upon the language of the union contract. Do you have comments, or would you care to make a motion, or both?
First of all, congratulations to all of you and welcome to the 2 new commissioners. I'm excited to work with you. And I will make a motion to approve the resolution.
Thank you for that. Is there a second to Tammy's motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, David. Questions, anything from Mr. Sonata? No? Mr. Prestipine?
Nope.
And Mr. Kennedy?
Just gonna be a pleasure working with you. Got to know you, you're a great person. So.
Thank you.
And as for you too, Jody. And Richard,
Thank you.
I'll get to you.
And you've never,
Yeah, it sounds like the-
he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's a real nice guy. Any other discussion on proposed resolution 6? It's been moved and seconded. Hearing no other discussion, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Register Recorder Crawford,
Yes.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you. Tammy, thank you. You have a great day.
You too.
Sheriff Perry Polero would be next. Sheriff, good afternoon. Would you like to sit up front with us?
I'm good here.
Okay.
Well,
Well, thank you, Perry. We,
again, I want to congratulate all 3 of you. Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Samata. Glad you joined the board. Whatever I can do to help you guys out. And hopefully we can get along, get things done.
I think the thing you'll notice about the sheriff is that he is here every day, day in and day out. I don't think I ever miss a day without seeing you. He's very visible.
I try to be here as much as.
Yes, sir. Sheriff, this is proposed resolution number 7, and as with the other folks, this would implement the 2.25% cost of living adjustment for your non-union and management folks and your solicitor. The union folks would, of course, be covered by the language in their contract. Would you wish to make a motion or have any discussion about it?
No discussion, but I'll make a motion to accept the resolution.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second to the sheriff's motion? Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Mr. Prestipine, any questions for the sheriff? Nope. Mr. Kennedy, questions for?
Just thank you. I appreciate everything you do, you and your team.
My pleasure, my job. We try to do the best we can.
Well, you take it, as he said, every time I've come in this place, you've been out there with the guys, or you've been in there working, so we appreciate what you
And I'm
do.
always in uniform.
Yes, you are.
Okay, one of the few sheriffs that do that. in
Right.
Commonwealth.
That's right.
And you look good in that uniform.
Thank you, Dan. Chris, any questions for the sheriff?
I'll just echo Commissioner Kennedy. I've known Perry almost as long as you did, back to the days with his grandmother. So
Oh, yeah.
we do appreciate your service at the county level and throughout the community. You're very visible, you and your deputies. I think that's so important. We talked at the other meeting about visibility in the community and showing the positive light. And your office has always shown the good positive about law enforcement.
appreciate it.
So we appreciate your
Have
office.
good guys, have big office staff.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We have a motion on the floor that has been seconded for proposed resolution 7. If there are no other concerns or questions, I'll ask for a roll call.
Sheriff Calero,
Yes.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Sheriff, thank you,
All
sir.
right, thank you.
Stay safe. Our treasurer, Mr. Richard Rapone, is with us. And Rich, again, would you like to sit up front with us?
I'm fine. I'm the caboose, right?
Almost. We still have some other business, but we're glad to have you. This would be proposed resolution 8. And again, for your office, would implement a 2.25% COLA effective January 1 of this year for your non-union and management folks, as well as your solicitor. The union folks in your office, their compensation will be based upon the language in the union contract. Would you care to make comments and or a motion, whatever you
No
prefer?
comments. I'll make a motion for the resolution, please.
I thank you. Is there a second to Mr. Rapone's motion?
I'll say.
Thank you, Dan. Dan, questions for Rich?
I just have a comment. It was brought up this morning when you took office. This place was a disaster. I remember them days. And it was, you walked into here and I don't know what you went to. But boy, in the years you cleaned it up, straightened it out. Not only the people of Orange County are proud of you, but you should be proud of yourself. and what
Thank
you've
you.
done. You and your team.
Thank you.
You know, you look back at them days, you wonder how it could ever get there. And we couldn't, you couldn't get rid of the treasurer at the time. And you still can't. But we don't need to because you do such a great job
Thank you, Dan.
and your team.
Thank you.
Just be proud of what you do. 'Cause
I'm very proud of my staff, my 2 deputies, my staff. Like I said this morning, they're the one beneath our wings. All of our staffs are, and so I'm very grateful to have them in place. So,
a wise man once told me, you'll be successful if you surround yourself with good people.
amen.
And that's exactly what you've done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Good job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Sanada, questions?
No.
Thank you. Mr. Prestipine?
No.
Okay, thank you so much. They have a motion and a second for proposed resolution 8. If there are no other concerns, I'll ask that the roll be called.
Treasurer Rapone,
Yes.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Rich,
Thank you,
thank you,
gentlemen.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day. The final proposal covers the various offices that fall under the jurisdiction of the, I shouldn't say the final, we have 2 more to consider, excuse me. The next one, number 9, covers those offices that fall under the jurisdiction of the commissioner. Let me read this into the record. All full-time and part-time non-union and management employees, solicitors, attorneys, and 911 personnel shall receive a 2.25% cost of living adjustment. All union employees shall be compensated per their union contracts. Increases will take effect January 1 of 2024. And these are the departments that are covered by Resolution 9. The following offices and or departments: the commissioners, maintenance, voter services, IT, personnel, mental health developmental services, veterans affairs, planning, recycling solid waste, the county solicitor, the assessor's office, public safety office, the public defender's office, tax claim office, and children and youth services. You'll note that none of those folks are here because, as I mentioned, by law, they do not have a vote on this. The other folks that were here, they're elected officials, which is why they are given the right to vote. But on this matter, it just falls on under the jurisdiction of the four of us. Those are the offices that are covered by this proposed resolution. Would someone care to make a motion for us to consider?
I'll make a motion.
Dan, I thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. Mr. Prestipine, any questions?
None.
Thank you. Mr. Kennedy?
None.
Mr. Sanada? Thank you. I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thanks, Vanessa. The final resolution, number 10, involves the jail. I think, I know you gentlemen know this, but let me just state it for the record. The oversight of the jail, based on state law, is that there is a 7-member board that oversees the jail and its operations. It's the four of us, and then the county district attorney, the president, judge, and the sheriff. It's a 7-member board. But we, as members of the salary board, have the responsibility and authority to approve the cost of living adjustment for the non-union and management folks, both full and part-time, at the jail. This resolution would implement a 2.25% cost of living adjustment for those folks starting January 1 of 2024. All union employees at the jail will be paid based upon language in their union contract. This is proposed resolution 10. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, David. Is there a second?
Second.
Chris, thank you so much. Mr. Sanada, any questions?
No.
Mr. Kennedy? And Mr. Prestipine?
No.
Thank you. I know I'm going to go off topic here for just a second. Let me say this since we're talking about the jail. That board, the prison board, is scheduled to meet on January 17 at 12 noon. And that should be on your calendar already.
It is.
That'll be a public meeting and it's held in this room. But one of the things, we just talked about this when the prison board met last month. One of the things the board is going to have to consider is electing a new chair, because Commissioner Spielvogel had been the chair of that board. So please keep that in mind when we convene on the, did I say 17th? Yeah, but the board will have to choose a chair. But anyhow, I digress a little bit. Any other discussion on proposed resolution 10? Hearing none, we'll ask for a roll call, please.
Controller Prestipine,
Yes.
Commissioner Sinata,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. I do want to also note, particularly for the benefit of the two new members, you'll notice that we did not take any votes relative to the elected officials here at county government. 3 of those positions, I shouldn't say 3 of those officials, but let me rephrase it. The 4 judges, the district magistrates, and the district attorney, their cost of living adjustments are based on state law. And Debbie, please don't hold me to this. I think, we may have to double check this. I think they are getting about a 3.7% adjustment. I believe that's the number. Is it 3.5,
I
Chris?
believe that's.
Okay. Well, and if that's what the legislature got, then that's what those officials are getting. That figure, if I'm not mistaken, I wish Joe Vanasco were here, I think that is the similar figure that will be applied to the county elected officials, 3.5. That's based on the consumer price index. Generally, the the cost of living adjustment for elected officials mirrors that of Social Security recipients,
Those,
generally speaking.
those are two separate entities there.
I realize that, but I'm saying
No.
the percentages usually mirror one another.
Over the course of time, Social Security, there was always a difference because there's a month off
Oh,
when
okay,
they make the adjustment, because it's legislative, and the other ones were based on a calendar year that begins December 1st,
right,
and Social Security was January 1st.
okay, I see what you're saying, so it did vary a little bit.
Some years one's higher, some years the other one's higher. So there was never for some,
I stand corrected.
no, I'm familiar because we've dealt with it all those years, and it was always, well, this one got more, that one got less.
Right.
There's a month off, and it's based on the same number of CPI,
Right,
yes.
but the month
The
difference,
month's
that would be true.
Yeah.
I appreciate your,
Sorry.
no, I appreciate you clarifying that, so thank you. So there is that formula that's used.
I believe the ordinance that's passed for elected officials, I think it's 3%. So I believe it says, if you go by the CPI,
Mhm.
I think it says add a percentage and a half to that.
Yeah.
But it's capped at 3. And I think the CPI was 2.5.
Mhm.
So add a percentage and a half to that, takes it over 3. So I believe that ordinance says you cap it at 3.
Okay. All right, appreciate you noting that as well. All right. Well, that concludes our voting matters that have been on the agenda. Does anyone have any new business they wish to bring before the board at this time? Now, it doesn't say public comment, but I'm going to open it up for public comment. Debbie,
I
questions?
do have some questions based on what you just talked about. So all the elected officials are getting 3% this year?
Based on the ordinance, I believe so.
Okay. So I noticed last month you had given out some raises and stipulated at the time that those people, certain people would not get the cost of living increases. But today, when you took the vote, you said all non-union management. So
There are specific resolutions setting that they would not do.
So today's action doesn't override that?
No.
Okay.
That's a good question, but you're right. What's on the books specific to those positions is
Because I
what we
thought
go by.
maybe you would say except for those that nobody said that, so I wondered if it was.
It's more or less a given, but it's a good point that you make.
Okay. That's it, except, I saw Perry out of uniform one day and I didn't recognize him.
Must be going to church.
It was actually a school function. Like,
Uh-huh, you did a double take. Well, thank you, Debbie. Any other matters to be brought before the board? Hearing none, I would request an adjournment motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye, opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. I will note that when we adjourn, it does take Bill a little while